Hermione at library 3 weeks before exams mode. First, read for curiosity. Let's read for curiosity. What is private international law? Despite the name, it is not really international law in the public law sense. Private international law deals with relations between states. Private international law deals with private disputes having a foreign element. Example, an Indian marries a French citizen. A contract is signed in Singapore but from in India. A child custody dispute involves parents living in different countries. The question becomes which court has jurisdiction? Which country's law should apply? Will a foreign judgment even be recognized? Private international law is the one who answers this question. Let's go to the module 1 now. Meaning, private international law or conflicts of law is a branch of law that determines jurisdiction, applicable law, recognition and enforcement of foreign judgment. So it is crystal clear, and whenever a legal dispute contains a foreign element, it occurs. So keywords will be foreign element, jurisdiction, applicable law, recognition and enforcement. Remember those keywords. They will help us remember it forever. 2. Rules of private international law in India. India does not possess a single comprehensive code on private international law like many people think. Instead, rules are scattered across Civil Procedure Code 1908, Indian Contract Act 1872, personal laws, judicial decisions. Indian courts frequently develop principles of case laws. And remember, India follows a fragmented approach, not a unified code, which I did already mention earlier. 3. Need to evolve Indian rules of private international law. So, of course, globalization has increased international marriages, cross-border commerce, and more things like foreign investments, international migration, etc. Older legal rules are often inadequate. India requires modern and predictable rules for jurisdiction, applicable law, foreign judgments, and more international commercial disputes, etc. Examiner's line will be growth of transactional interactions necessitates a coherent Indian system of private international law. Remember it to get better marks. Choice of law. This one is the most important concept, like one of the most. When multiple legal systems are connected to a dispute, the court must decide which law should govern. Example, an Indian company contracts with a German company. So possible laws will be Indian law, German law chosen in contract, right? The process of selecting the applicable law is called choice of law. Keywords of this will be connecting factors, applicable law, governing law, etc. etc. So now historical perspective. Private international law developed because trade expanded beyond borders. People moved across territories. Different legal system integrated, like they integrated. Historical developments can be traced the Roman law, Italian statutes, Dutch jurists, and English common law, of course. As always, eventually modern conflicts of law principles emerged. Now 6. Theories and developments in contemporary world. Law students and we all cannot like skip the theories part, by the way. So modern developments focuses on international commerce, human mobility, globalization, cross-border digital transactions, of course, and contemporary system attempts to balance sovereignty of the states, fairness to parties, legal certainty. Modern trend will be more flexibility and international cooperation, of course, like bringing justice to everyone. And it also needs to be like easy, the palm of our hand, like near that. 7. Local law theory and genesis of private international law in India. Local law theory. A court always applies its own law. Foreign law is applicable or applied only because local law allows it. Thus, the real source of authority remains the law of the forum. Genesis in India, by the way. Indian PIL developed through British common law influence. Colonial judicial practices, post independence judicial decisions, and increasing international trade and migration. One line formula will be foreign law operates because Indian law permits its operation. So let's pause and connect the dots. Model 1 essentially asking one big question. When a dispute involved more than one country, how should an Indian court decide what law applies and what authority it has? Everything in Module 1 revolves around that single question. So now let's go to the Module 2 Sources of Private International Law. Think, what do the rules come from? I mean, where? What, where, how they even come from, and practically where, to be fair, where do they come from? How, by the way? And seriously, how? So first, sources of private international law. Main source will be judicial decisions. Courts create principles through precedents. Example, civil procedure code, arbitration laws, family law statutes, international conventions, treaties and conventions influence domestic law, customs and practices. International commercial customs may also play a role. Memory hook will be judge plus legislature plus treaty plus customs. 2. Concepts and general questions of civil code. This topic explores whether a coherent civil code can simplify conflicts of laws issues. Questions include uniformity of legal rules, consistency across jurisdictions, reduction of legal uncertainty. The issue becomes significant in countries with diverse personal legal system, personal laws such as India. See, conceptual inadequacy. In case of India, it faces challenges because rules are scattered, no comprehensive code exists, different personal law coexist, judicial approaches sometimes vary. As a result, certainty and predictability may be lacking. Examiner's praise will be absence of codification creates conceptual inadequacies in Indian private international law. 4. Evolution of jurisdiction in persona, meaning jurisdiction over a person, traditionally based on presence, residence, domicile. Modern developments include business activity, online transactions, commercial connections. So, key point will be jurisdiction has expanded beyond physical presence. Nice, I will say. 5 will be transactional disclosure. Cross border disputes often require documents, evidence, and financial records, of course, located in another country. Transactional disclosure refers to mechanisms enabling access to such information, like across everywhere. Those information can be accessed by this. And importance without disclosure, international litigation becomes difficult or impossible. So 6 will be recommendation for jurisdiction, like jurisdictional rules. Scholars recommend rules that are clear, predictable, fair, consistent. Modern jurisdiction rules should be they should accommodate e-commerce, digital transaction, international mobility. So one line conclusion will be the goal is balancing fairness, efficiency, and international cooperation, no matter what occurs. So second reading, understanding the connections. So draw this little chain in your notebook. Foreign element, jurisdiction, choice of law, then applied relevant law, foreign judgment, recognition and enforcement. Now connect both modules, private international law, then why needed globalization. Where do rules come from? Sources, which court hears jurisdiction, and what why it is applicable, like which law applies, choice of law, how is evidence obtained, transactional disclosure, how should rules improve, recommendations. For today, don't memorize paragraphs, read these notes once slowly and close them. Try to explain what is private international law and why does India even need better rules. If you can do that for 3 to 5 minutes, game over. Now, it will be the next part. So, we can begin. So, with me, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Stay tuned for understanding. So, the big question, everything in these two modules revolve around one central problem. What happens when a private legal dispute involves more than one country? For example, an Indian marries an Indian company contracts with a Japanese company. A child lives in England while parents litigate in India. A foreign court passes a judgment against an Indian citizen. Immediately, several questions arise. Question 1, which court should hear the case? Question 2, which country's law should apply? Question 3, will the judgments be recognized elsewhere? Private international law exists to answer these questions. This is a classic PIL triangle jurisdiction, and then choice of law, then recognition and enforcement. So, module 1 as a story. So, step 1 meaning imagine two person from the same country. First, suppose they're having a dispute. For example, Indians sign a contract in Kolkata, okay? No problem. Indian court, Indian law, everything is simple. Now imagine an Indian signs a contract with a German person in Singapore. Suddenly, we have a lot questions, right? Three countries are involved. Three legal systems may be involved. This is where private international law begins. So the meaning topic is simply asking, why do we need a special set of rules when more than one legal system is involved? So step two, rules and private rules, rules and private international law in India. I mean rules of private international, but it also sounds nice. Rules and private international law in India. Once we know PIL is needed, the next question becomes where are the Indian rules? Unlike some countries, India does not have complete PIL code. Instead, rules are scattered across civil procedure code, personal laws, contract laws, judicial decisions. Think of India as having a toolbox rather than single textbook. Important addition, by the way. Because India lacks a comprehensive PIL code, much of Indian private international law is judge made law, influenced heavily by English common law principles as always. So remember, no single code, scattered rules, and heavy dependence on judicial decisions, and strong English common law influence. So step 3 now. Need to evolve Indian rules. Why were older rules created even? Because people mostly lived, worked, married, and traded within national boundaries. But today, online contracts happen daily, international marriages are common, foreign investments flow constantly, digital transactions cross borders instantly, and legal world changed like forever. The rules did not always keep pace, therefore, globalization, then mere cross border dispute, and then need better PIL rules. We need it. Now, step 4, choice of law. This is the heart of PIL. Imagine an Indian and a French citizen marries in Singapore and has 6 divorces in England. Which law applies? Indian law? French law? No, Singapore law? English law, maybe? The court must choose. The choice is called choice, like choice of law. Think of it as the court asking, out of all these possible legal systems, which one should govern this dispute? Important addition, by the way, foreign elements like a court faces a choice. When a court faces a choice of law problem, like because there is a foreign element in the dispute, okay? So a court faces a choice of law problem because there is a foreign element in the dispute, otherwise they will not. So that foreign element may arise from the parties or the property or the action of transaction, etc. The parties example nationally, like nationality of them, domicile, residence. Second, the property, example land situated abroad, assets located in another country. Three, the action or transaction. Example, contract signed in Tokyo, tort committed in another jurisdiction. So remember, foreign elements, then parties, property, action, and then choice of law. So choice of law question, that's when it arises. Now 5, historical perspective. Now we ask, how did people solve these problems before modern globalizations? As trade expanded, cities, kingdoms, empires, nations, international trade, different legal systems started colliding. Scholars and judges gradually created principles to manage conflicts. That historical evolution eventually became private international law. Step 6, Theories and Development in Contemporary World. Once PIL developed, historically scholars began asking, why should court ever apply foreign laws? Different theories emerged. Modern developments then pushed PIL, it was pushed PIL in new areas. So international trade, air travel, migration, e commerce, digital transactions. The contemporary world made PIL more important than ever. Step 7, Local law theory. This topic answers a fascinating question. Suppose an Indian court applies French law. Why can it do that? Local law theory says because Indian law allows it. In reality, the court never stops being an Indian court. The authority always comes from Indian law. Think of it. Like, for example, think foreign law allowed by Indian law and applied by Indian court. So, another important addition, the local law theory is associated with Walter Wheeler Cook. According to this theory, foreign law does not operate by its own force. It operates only because the local code permits its operation or application. So, two Latin terms to understand here: lex fori, the law of the forum, the court hearing the case. Example, an Indian court. The Indian court is the lex fori, and lex causa, the law selected to govern the dispute. Example, an Indian court may choose foreign law to govern, like for example, Indian court may choose the French law, maybe French law to govern the dispute. The French law becomes the lex causa. So Indian court, then lex causa is the Indian court, and they chooses French law. So lex causa is the French law. Okay. Indian court lex for French law is lex causa. So model 1 complement: foreign element need PIL, Indian rules need reform, choice of law, historical evidence, modern theories, and local law theory. Now, then module 2 as a story. Now that PIL exists, we ask where do its rule come from and how should they work even? 7 sources of private international law. Imagine PIL as a building. Where are the bricks? The bricks are statutes, judicial decisions, international conventions, customs. Without these sources, PIL cannot function. Step 2 will be concepts and general questions of civil code. So ask now, would things be easier if there were one coherent set of rules? The topic explores that question. India has different personal laws, different traditions, different legal approaches. A common framework could create uniformity. We need uniformity, really we do. That is the underlying issue here. And step 3 now. 3. Conceptual inadequacy in India. After studying the sources, a problem appears. India's PIL system is not fully codified. Consequences: no comprehensive code, different approaches, uncertainty, unpredictability, need for reform. So, a major reason for this inadequacy in India is diversity of personal laws governing marriage, divorce, succession, family relations, etc. Different communities follow different legal perspectives and even different legal systems. This often complicates conflicts of laws questions. Thus, multiple personal law, then different legal outcomes and conceptual inadequacies there. Step 4 now, evolution of jurisdiction in personam. So now jurisdiction in personam. Now we move to jurisdiction. Traditionally, a court gained power because a person was physically present, but modern life changes everything. Today, people work remotely, businesses operate globally, Transactions happen online, so jurisdiction expanded beyond mere physical presence. Thus, evolution is what the topic studies. Step 5. Transactional disclosure. Imagine an Indian lawsuit, important evidence in sitting. Yeah, like evidence is like sitting in London. So important bank records are in Delhi or like Dubai maybe. Important emails are stored in Singapore. How does the court obtain them even? Like how? The problem is called transactional disclosure. Without access to evidence, justice becomes impossible. Important connection. So, as judicial, like jurisdiction expanded in digital and cross-border spaces, evidence becomes like they also become international, therefore expanded jurisdiction, cross-border disputes, and evidence located abroad. Need for transactional disclosure. Now, step 6, recommendations for jurisdiction, like jurisdictional rules. After identifying all the problems, scholars ask what should better, like what should better rules even, how they even look like those better rules. The answer is that rules should be predictable, fair, efficient, internationally compatible. So modern jurisdiction should also accommodate e-commerce, judicial transaction, international mobility. This topic is essentially the reform chapter. So chapter 2 complete map will be sources, the need uniformity, current weaknesses, judicial problems, cross-border evidence. I recommended like reforms. Master and map of the module 1 and 2 will be foreign element, need for PIL, Indian PIL rules, need for reform, choice of law, historical development, modern theories, local law theory, lex foreign and lex causa, sources of PIL, civil code disputes, conceptual inequity, personal law, then jurisdiction personam, transactional disclosure, jurisdictional reform. So this vision, sorry, I mean this version, like it preserves what we actually wanted to do, right? So that completes the understanding stage in a way that both conceptually coherent and more examiner friendly. The next stage is where the real Hermione magic begins, turning all of this into memory hooks, rapid recall, keywords, and then we will be better. Remember, this is not by Hermione, it is by her, her one of the most biggest fan. So now the step 3. Now the goal is no longer reading or etc. It is word memory. As if examiner wakes me up 3 a.m. and asks me a question. So model 1, meaning of private international law. One line definition will be private international law. Conflict of laws deals with private disputes containing a foreign element and determines jurisdiction, applicable law, and recognition of foreign judgments. Memory formula will be JAR. J jurisdiction, A applicable law, R like recognition and enforcement. JAR jurisdiction, applicable law, recognition and enforcement. Whenever you see PIL, you think pill equals to jar. I will add a emoji also maybe there when I edit. So pill goes in jar. Pill equals to jar. 2. Rules of private international law. Keywords will be no comprehensive code, fragmented system, judgment law, English common law, influence CPC, personal law, and judicial decisions. Memory formula will be CPJ, C CPC, P personal law, J judicial decisions. So they need to evolve Indian rules. Keywords globalization, cross border trade, international marriages, migration, foreign investments, and digital transactions. Memory formula will be GMMID, GMID or GMMID. G globalization, M migration, M marriage or marriages, I investment in digital transaction. So examiners trigger modern transactional integrations require a coherent and predictable systems of private international law. So for choice of law, one line definition will be choice of law is the process of determining Which legal system should govern a dispute involving multiple jurisdictions? Keywords will be applicable law, governing law, connecting factors, foreign elements. So resources of foreign elements: PPA, P parties, P property, and A action parties. So nationality, domicile, and residence is there. Property, foreign land, and foreign assets. Action will be like contract abroad, taught abroad, etc. Everything abroad, to be fair. So memory trigger, foreign element, PPA, choice of law. Okay. 5 historical perspective. Keywords: Roman law, trade expense like trade expansion, conflicts of law, Jews international commerce, and juristic developments are there. Memory story will be trade, movement, conflicts, rules, and PIL. So 6 will be theories and developments in contemporary world. Keywords: globalization, international commerce, migration, e-commerce, judicial like no sorry judicial and digital economy. So memory formula will be GIMET, globalization and international commerce, A migration, e-commerce, and the digital transactions. So local law theory, Walter Wheeler Cook, most important name by the way. So core idea it possesses is that foreign law applies only because local law permits it. Walter Wheeler Cook. Keywords: local law theory, forum forum court, foreign law permitted, and Walter Wheeler Cook. Latin terms: lex fori, law of the forum, lex fori, law of the forum, meaning law of the court hearing the dispute. Example: Indian court, like Indian law. Lex causa, law governing the dispute. Example: Indian court applies French law. Memory formula: lex fori chooses, lex causa. Okay, lex fori chooses, lex causa. And ultra short recall: Walter Cook, then local law theory, and then foreign law works because local law allows it. So module 1 must memory sheet will be meaning jar. Okay, J jurisdiction, A applicable law, R recognition, Indian rules, CPJ, C CPCP personal law, J jurisdiction judicial decisions, no jurisdiction, judicial decision. So need reform, GMMID, globalization, migration, marriages, investment, digitization. Choice of law: PPA, parties, property, action. Local law theory: Walter Wheeler Cook, and Lex 40 and Lex causa are there. Module 2, sources of private international law. So keywords will be statutes, judicial decisions, international conventions, and customs. Memory formula will be SJIC, S statutes, J judicial decisions, I international conventions, C customs. So 2 will be the concepts and concepts and general questions of civil code: uniformity, consistency, codification, common framework. Memory formula UCC, so U uniformity, C consistency, and C codification. So not the constitutional UCC debate, just a memory cue, okay? And conceptual inadequacy in India. Why inadequacy? No code, scattered rules, multiple personal laws, judicial inconsistency. So memory formula NSMJ. NSMJ. So N, no code, S scattered rules, M multiple personal laws, J judicial variations. I hope you will not need this one. So key line will be multiple personal laws, different outcomes, inadequacy. So for evolution of jurisdiction in personam: traditional basis presence, residence, and domicile. Modern basis: business activity, online presence, commercial connections. So memory formula: PRD to PRD and BOC. PRD to BOC. PRD presence, residence, domicile, and another business, online activity, and commercial connection. 5 transactional disclosure: evidence abroad, documents abroad, cross border, etc. So you can see those keywords will actually help you. So now six recommendations for jurisdictional rules, predictability, fairness, efficiency, and international cooperation. So memory formula PFEI, P predictability, F fairness, E effect like efficiency will be there, and I international capacity like capacity. Why was I gonna say capacity? I mean compatibility. So examiners line modern jurisdictional rules must balance fairness, efficiency, and international cooperation. Module to master memory sheet. Sources SJIC, statutes, judicial decisions, international conventions, customs. Civil Court Debate UCC, uniformity, consistency, and codification. Inadequacy NSMJ, no code, scattered rules, multiple personal laws, judicial variations, jurisdiction, PRD to BOC, presence, residence, domicile, and business, online activity, and commercial connections. Disclosure EDBC, evidence, documents, bank records, cross border reforms. PFEI, predictability, fairness, efficiency, international compatibility. So Harman is third reading sheet, 1 minute revision. PIL is JAR, jurisdiction, applicable law, recognition. Okay, and the choice applies PPA, parties, property, action. Local law theory, Walter Wheeler Cook, Lex Fori, Lex Causa, okay. Sources will be SJIC, statutes, judicial decisions, international conventions and customs. Inadequacy, NSMJ, no court, scattered rules, multiple personal laws, judicial variations. And jurisdiction is PID to BOC, PID, BOC. Disclosure, BDBC, sorry, disclosure, EDBC, and reform, PFEI. If you can recall these formulas and explain them into two sentences, you have completed the third reading, like memory stage. And the next stage is Hermione teaching mode, where you will explain the entire module alone, aloud, as though you are teaching a first year law student or anyone, to be fair, who actually wants to know. And that's the stage we are gonna go through. Okay. Now Hermione explains private international law part 1. Why does the subject even exist? Hello everyone. Today we are discussing a subject whose name is honestly terrifying. Because the moment someone hears private international law, their brain immediately goes like, yes. Ah yes, treaties, wars and United Nations. No, wrong subject. That's public international. Private international law is much more noisier. It cases involving people's marriages, contracts, divorces, inheritance, business, and custody disputes. It's basically the law that applies the moment legal problem diffuses to say inside a country. Chapter 1: The day national borders become inconvenient. Imagine a world where everyone lives in one country, marries within one country, owns property in that country, resides contracts in that country. Life is easy, dispute arises. Everyone already knows which country will hear it, which law applies, and how the judgment will be enforced. Then, but humanity refused to stay put. People started traveling, trading, migrating, marrying foreigners, buying houses around abroad, operating businesses across borders, and suddenly the legal system developed a headache. Imagine this: the Indian citizen marries an Indian citizen marries a French citizen. Marriage happens in Singapore, then they move to England, then they want a divorce. Congratulations, you have just created a nightmare for four legal systems. Now the court has questioned: should Indian law apply? French law? Singapore law? Nah, maybe English law? And before deciding that, another question appears. Which court even gets to decide that? No, seriously. And after that, another question appears. If one country gives a judgment, will other country even respect it? Seriously, will they? No, seriously, will they? I don't think so. As countries, we always quarrel between each other. So, like, that exact moment, it is the workplace, okay? The private international law, because basically no one will hear each other in these cases. So, what is private international law? Like, what is it? At its heart, PIL only performs three jobs. Think of them as three great questions, or maybe triple engine of transactional suit. So, question one, who decides jurisdiction? Question two, which law decides? Choice of law. Question three, will everyone respect the decision? Recognition and enforcement. Everyone in this subject eventually returns to these three questions over and over: jurisdiction, choice of law, and recognition and enforcement, the holy trinity of conflict of laws. So, rules of private international law in India. Why India is slightly chaotic here? Now, here's something interesting. Many students assume India must have a huge statute called the Private International Law Code of India. We do not. It doesn't exist. Instead, India stores PIL rules like someone storing important documents in 12 different drawers. Okay? Like we are Indian, I guess we all can relate in that. So you find pieces of PIL in Civil Procedure Code 1998, personal laws, contract laws, even judicial decisions. The result, India operates largely through a mixture of statutes and judgment principles influenced by English common law traditions. Because India lacks a comprehensive PIL code, courts frequently rely on judicial precedents and principles inherited from English common law to fill the gap. So, if PIL were a building, some bricks came from statutes, some bricks came from judges, and some bricks came from inherited like common law principles, etc. And everyone is trying to make the building stand. Okay, uh, no one is being kebab mein haddi, okay, or the third building maybe. No one is doing that. We all want it to stand. So why must Indian PL continue to evolve even? Now here's the fascinating part. Most traditional legal rules were designated like they were designed for a slower world, a very slow world, a world where a letter took weeks, a ship took months, and crossing like continents was an adventure. Modern life broke the system. Today, contracts are signed online, businesses operate globally, assets exist digitally, relationships span countries like continents. The legal questions became much more complicated as always. As obviously, the rules must therefore become more sophisticated because the number of foreign element like disputes, which is growing day by the way. So the logic becomes globalization, then more cross-border activity, then more legal conflicts, and then we need better PIL rules. So choice of law, the most important question is the entire module. Now let's talk about the star of the show, choice of law. If PIL had a main character, that would be it. This one, okay? Imagine you're a judge. You open a case file and immediately discover Indian citizen, French citizen, marries in Singapore, divorces in England, and at this point you are not deciding who wins, you are deciding something even more fundamental. You are deciding which legal system gets the right to decide who wins. The process is called choice of law. The secret villain here will be foreign element. So choice of law problems only exist because of something called a foreign element. Think of a foreign element as a legal complication imported, like it is imported from somewhere else. These foreign elements usually come from three places. One, the parties, the people themselves, example, nationality, domicile, residence. Okay, etc. etc. The next will be the property, the thing involved. Okay, example, foreign land, it can be foreign assets, something like that, something tangible. The property will be that. Foreign bank accounts can also be that. The action or cause of action, the legal event giving rise to the dispute. Example, contract signed abroad, accident abroad, taught abroad, everything abroad. In legal language, courts often ask, where did the cause of action arise? Hermione's shortcut will be foreign element, PPA, parties like parties property action, and choice of law problem. Notice something, the moment a foreign element appears, the course peaceful life ends. Now it has work to do, like, yeah. Historical perspective. Now humanity accidentally invented PIL. Now let's travel backwards. Before planes, before the internet, before international cooperations, people still traded. Merchants crossed borders, right? Goods moved like between regions. Legal systems like they began to collide, and judges faced a new question: what happened when our laws and their law disagree? What will we do then? Over countries, lawyers and scholars slowly developed answers, not overnight, not the one statute, but through centuries of experimentation. The history of PIL is essentially the history of legal system, learning how to exist because we are really bad in teamwork sometimes. So trade, movement, legal conflicts, legal solutions, private international law. That's how it came into force. To be continued. In part 2, Hermione will continue with theories and developments in contemporary world, Walter Wheeler Cook, and local, of course, a local law theory, Lex Fori and Lex Causa, genesis of private international law in India, why Indian PIL looks different from many Western jurisdictions, and we will start connecting those ideas to the module 2 topics so that the entire statue like feels like one continuous story rather than separate syllabus headings. Okay. Hermione explains private international law, part 2. Why would a court even apply foreign law? Welcome back. Last time we reached a strange point in the story. We discovered the private international law exists because people insist on living international law, like international lawful lives. We learned about foreign elements, choice of law, globalization, and why people, Indian people, like Indian people like the PIL, they need reform. We need reform. But now we have reached the question that made generations of jurists lose sleep. The question that broke everyone's brain. Imagine you are an Indian judge. A dispute becomes someone like before you. You are sitting in India, okay, and appointed under Indian law, of course, which like operating inside the Indian legal system, obviously, and then someone says, "My lord, pardon me, my lord, French law should apply." At this point, an obvious question arises: Why? Like why? Why should an Indian could even apply foreign law? Why should French law have any authority inside an Indian courtroom? Surely only Indian law should matter, right? This question becomes one of the biggest theories, like theoretical debates in private international law. And that debate provided us with various theories and developments in contemporary world. Historically, many jurists tried to explain why courts apply foreign law. Different schools develop different explanations. Some emphasize that community between nations, like not community to be fair, community means something else, community between nations, territorial sovereignty, vested rights, international cooperation, etc. For that it should be there. But as the world changed, the focus shifted because modern PIL is no longer dealing only with merchant ships and handwritten contracts. Now it is dealing with multinational cooperations, online commerce, like financial thing is cloud computing, international banking, digital assets, global migration, etc. etc. The modern world multiplied legal connections. It also multiplied problems. A single online transaction may involve a buyer in India, seller in Germany, like service in Singapore, payment proceedings in United Nations. Suddenly, four legal systems are standing at the same door, at the same room. This is why contemporary PIL focuses on legal certainty. People should know beforehand which law may apply. Fairness. Parties like should not be unfair, like bragging into distant jurisdictions. Predictability. So courts should produce consistent outcome. Okay, consistent outcomes. International cooperations. States must cooperate because disputes increasingly cross borders, etc. Why modern PL keeps explaining. It quite keeps expanding even. Think about this 100 years ago, business needed physical office in different countries. Today, a teenager can launch a global online business from a bedroom. Maybe with YouTube, Facebook, social media, basically with the internet. The law therefore had to expand, which explains why contemporary PIL now consistently engages with e-commerce and digital aspects which never existed beforehand. For now, we must evolve. And there are other things beside e-commerce, like e-commerce, international finance, online contracts, data transfers, cross-border, like technological disputes, etc., etc. This development is exactly what your syllabus means by theories and developments in like international contemporary world. It is not merely historical theory, it is theory adapted into modern reality. Local law theory, the theory that asks a dangerous question. Now we arrive at one of the most important theories in your syllabus, local law theory, associated with Walter Wheeler Cook. Remember the name, examiners love it. Most people think an Indian court applies to French law because French law somehow enters India. Cook disagrees. He says no, this is not what happened at all. According to him, foreign law has no independence, like no independent force in India. French law does not walk into an Indian courtroom carrying legal authority. Instead, Indian law chooses to recognize and apply French law. The distinction is crucial. Think of this way, like suppose a school principal allows a guest speaking into a classroom. The guest speaker is like there, but the authority to be there comes from the principal, not from the guest. Similarly, for like foreign law, French law in this case, foreign law permitted by local law applied by the court. That is essential, and that is the essence of local law theory. And two Latin terms, examiners law. Now let's add two terms that offer they do appear, they always appear in PIL. These two terms are missing from the many basic explanations, but they are conceptually important. Lex fori, literally law of the forum. Lex fori, literally law of the forum, meaning the law of the court hearing the dispute. As simple as that. Now we will go to an example. Example: if an Indian court hears a case, lex fori is Indian law. The court's procedure will normally follow Indian law, of course. Lex causa literally is law of the cause, meaning the law chosen to govern the substantive dispute. Example: an Indian court hears a dispute but decides French law should govern the marriage issue. So, lex causa is the French law. The relationship between them, students often confuse these two. Remember, Indian court lex fori chooses lex causa. Okay, not the other way around. The forum court chooses the governing law. Okay, one tells us which court is deciding, and the other tells us which law is deciding. So, genesis of private international law in India. Now, let us bring everything home. Why does Indian PIL look that way it does? The answer lives in the history. India did not develop PIL in complete isolation. Its foundation were heavily influenced by British colonial administrations, English common law, judicial precedents, commercial necessities. When British court operates in India, many common law conflict principles entered Indian legal thinking. So after independence, India retained much of this framework. Okay, but unlike several countries, India never enacted a single comprehensive PIL code. This is why Indian PIL developed through a combination of statutes such as Civil Procedure Code, Family Law Provisions, Commercial Statutes. So judicial decisions also there. Indian courts fill the gaps. So interpretations. Okay, common law influence. Many principles trace their root to English conflict of laws jurisdictions, like actual jurisprudence, like English common law. In English conflicts of law, jurisprudence. The missing piece many students forget here is something often overlooked. India is not just dealing with international like diversity. India is also dealing with international legal diversity. Like not international, internal. Okay. Those who are international should go and check their ears. So different personal laws govern different communities regarding marriage, divorce, succession, family like relations, succession maybe. Therefore, Indian PIL faces a unique challenge. Many countries deal mainly with international conflicts. India often faces international conflicts and personal law conflicts at the same time. This is one like reason scholars speak about the need for stronger codification reform. Why Module 1 manually leads into Module 2? Notice the flow. Module 1 asks why does PIL exist? Then how did it develop? Then like why can foreign law apply? Then how did India inherit these rules? And immediately a new question appears. Why do these rules actually come from? Like why, where, how, where basically? The question opens the door to Module 2. Hermione's end of lecture summary. If I had to explain the part 2 of it like 30 seconds. So globalization, more cross-border disputes, need for choice of law. Question, why apply foreign law? Local law theory. Walter Wheeler Cook. Foreign law operates because local law permisses. Lex Fori chooses Lex Causa. Indian PIL developed through common law statutes plus common law plus statutes plus judicial decisions need for future and further reforms. And that is the point. The Hermione would probably have covered those three like blackboards, 6 rows of parchments, and somehow convince everyone the private international law is really a giant piece of puzzle, which legal system like this to speak. And when multiple legal system are raised, then hand at once we can solve it like slowly and carefully, by the way.